Hi, ladies. Welcome to Stoic Women, where fearless hearts meet focused minds. Let's be honest, there's nothing more infuriating than a guy who insists on playing hard to get. The silence, the mixed signals, those tiny breadcrumbs of attention. It's enough to drive anyone crazy. Suddenly, you're questioning everything. Did I say something wrong? Should I text him again? Is it me? Let me stop you right there, because here's the truth. It's not you, it's a game, and a calculated one. And trust me, you're neither the first nor the last to get caught up in it. But here's the twist. The real issue isn't him acting hard to get. It's how we, as women, choose to respond. Most of us fall into the trap of overthinking, overgiving, or, worst of all, over-chasing. And why wouldn't we? Society has drilled into us that if a guy pulls away, we have to work harder to win him back, to prove we're worth it. Talk about a myth. Let me share a little secret. The instant you flip that script, stop chasing, and start standing in your own power, everything changes. This isn't about revenge in the usual sense, no elaborate schemes or catty behavior. It's about reclaiming your dignity and embracing your identity as the high-value woman who commands respect, not confusion. Today, I'm walking you through 7 powerful steps to handle a man who's playing this game. These steps aren't cheap tricks or manipulative tactics. They're grounded in personal growth, self-confidence, and the timeless wisdom of dark Stoic psychology and Stoicism. By the time we're done, you'll know exactly how to navigate his behavior and how to elevate yourself in the process. Believe me, in doing so, you'll either grab his undivided attention or realize he was never worth yours in the first place. Ready to uncover the secrets that will transform not just the way you tackle this situation, but how you handle all your relationships. Let's dive right in, and stick around till the very end, because I'll be sharing the ultimate mindset shift that will reshape the way you approach every interaction from here on out. Let's start with the most important step, you. Yes, you. Because when a man pulls back or plays hard to get, the first instinct is often to hyper-focus on him, his actions, his thoughts, his intentions. But let me challenge you with this. What if instead of asking why he's distant, you asked yourself, how can I become so magnetic, so self-assured, that his behavior no longer rattles me? This isn't just about distracting yourself. It's about realigning with your worth. When you shift the spotlight inward, you reclaim control over the narrative. Think about it. When was the last time you prioritized yourself fully without waiting for someone else's validation? This is your moment to do exactly that. Here's the truth. High-value women don't chase. They attract. And attraction doesn't come from desperately seeking attention. It comes from living a life that's so full, so vibrant, that others naturally gravitate toward it. What does that look like for you? Maybe it's diving into your career, igniting a passion project, or spending more time with friends who uplift you. It's about becoming the woman who doesn't wait for someone else to make her life exciting. She creates excitement all on her own. Now, you might be wondering, will this really work? Won't he just forget about me if I stop chasing? Oh, my dear, that's where the magic lies. When you focus on yourself, you exude a quiet confidence that's impossible to ignore. It's the essence of Stoicism, mastering your own emotions and actions instead of reacting to external forces. This doesn't mean playing games or pretending you don't care. It means genuinely prioritizing your well-being above all else. Imagine you're so engrossed in your own life that his mixed signals barely register. You're not ignoring him out of spite. You're simply too busy being fabulous to obsess over his games. What happens then? He starts noticing. Why? Because nothing intrigues a man more than a woman who's self-sufficient, who doesn't need him to complete her, but chooses to share her life with him when he's worthy. Here's a challenge for you. Write down 3 areas of your life that you've been neglecting because of this situation. Is it your fitness routine, your creative pursuits, time with loved ones? Now commit to investing in those areas this week. Not because it'll make him notice you, but because it'll remind you of your own brilliance. Remember, the goal isn't to play hard to get in return. It's to genuinely elevate yourself to a place where his games no longer affect you. This is where dark Stoic psychology comes into play. By mastering your own mind, you become untouchable. And when you're untouchable, you're irresistible. So ladies, here's the question. What's one thing you can do today to realign with your worth? How will you pour into yourself, not to make him chase, but to remind yourself of the queen you are? Drop your answers in the comments, and let's support each other on this journey to self-empowerment. Stay tuned for step 2. It's where we'll learn how to match his energy and stop overextending. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Let me ask you something. How many times have you found yourself overthinking every text, every emoji, every slight pause in his response? How often have you stayed up late rewriting a message just to make sure it comes across as cool but not too eager? We've all been there, analyzing his every move like a detective trying to crack a code. But here's the truth, ladies. You're not meant to decode his intentions. You're meant to reflect his energy. Think of it like this. If he's acting distant, why are you leaning in? If he's vague, why are you crystal clear? High-value women don't overextend themselves. They understand that relationships are a dance, not a solo performance. When you start matching his energy, instead of chasing, you shift the dynamic entirely. Let me explain how. The first step is to pause and observe. If he's slow to respond, resist the urge to send a follow-up text. If he's ambiguous about making plans, don't fill in the gaps with suggestions or overcommit to his schedule. Reflect his energy with quiet confidence. This doesn't mean playing games. It means staying centered in your own worth and letting him step up if he's truly interested. Here's where it gets interesting. When you stop overextending, you create space for him to step into. And guess what? That space is where the magic happens. Men are wired to pursue, but when you're always available, always chasing, you rob him of the opportunity to show his interest. Matching his energy gives him the chance to rise to your level, to put in the effort that you truly deserve. But let's take this deeper. Why do we overextend in the first place? It's because we've been conditioned to believe that effort equals value. We think, if I show him how much I care, he'll realize how amazing I am. The reality? Overextending only makes you seem overly eager, which diminishes your allure. High-value women don't chase, they attract. They embody Stoicism by staying calm, composed, and unbothered by external actions. Imagine this scenario. He takes hours to reply to your text. Instead of agonizing over what he might be thinking, you go about your day. You work on your projects, hit the gym, grab coffee with a friend, whatever makes you feel fulfilled. By the time he finally responds, you're so immersed in your own life that his delay doesn't even register as significant. And trust me, nothing intrigues a man more than a woman who doesn't make him the center of her universe. But let's address the fear that often comes up. What if matching his energy makes him lose interest? Let me flip that around. If your absence makes him lose interest, was he ever genuinely invested? A man who values you will notice when you pull back and will adjust accordingly. And if he doesn't, Well, you've just saved yourself from wasting time on someone who wasn't worth it. This isn't about withdrawing affection or being cold. It's about creating balance. When you stop overextending, you reclaim your emotional equilibrium. You no longer feel drained or anxious because you're not pouring energy into a one-sided dynamic. Instead, you're calmly holding your ground, which exudes strength and mystery, two traits that are undeniably magnetic. Now let's get practical. The next time you find yourself tempted to overextend, ask yourself, am I matching his energy or am I overcompensating? If it's the latter, pause, breathe, and redirect your focus to something that lights you up, whether it's a hobby, a workout, or even a quiet moment of self-reflection. Remember, your energy is a gift, and not everyone deserves it. Here's another tip. Notice how he reacts when you stop overextending. Does he make an effort to reach out more consistently? Does he clarify his intentions, or does he let the connection fizzle? His response will tell you everything you need to know about his level of interest and emotional maturity. And no matter what, you'll come out on top because you stayed true to yourself. Let's bring this home with a challenge. For the next week, commit to matching his energy. No more double texting, over-explaining, or overthinking. Just reflect what he gives you and see how it shifts the dynamic. You might be surprised by how powerful this simple adjustment can be. If you've made it this far, let me know this resonated. Hit like and drop a 1 in the comments if this speaks to you. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another dose of empowering insight. We're in this together, on a journey of self-discovery, growth, and unlocking your hidden magnetism. And this is just the beginning. Stick around, because next we'll dive into the art of watching actions, not words. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Picture this. He's sending mixed signals, making plans 1 minute, canceling the next. You feel like you're standing on shifting sands, unsure of where you stand. It's exhausting, isn't it? But here's the truth. A man can only treat you as inconsistently as you allow. That's why setting boundaries is not just an option, it's a necessity. Boundaries are not about controlling his actions. They're about defining your expectations and making it clear how you expect to be treated. The beauty of boundaries is that they're rooted in self-respect, not ultimatums or emotional outbursts. They allow you to stay composed and dignified while communicating your worth. The first step to setting boundaries is recognizing your own limits. What behaviors are you willing to accept? Where do you draw the line? For example, if he's consistently late for plans or cancels without valid reasons, it's time to decide. Are you okay with this? Or does it chip away at your sense of value? Being a high-value woman means being crystal clear about what you deserve and not compromising on that standard. Now let's talk about the art of setting boundaries without sounding harsh or confrontational. The secret lies in the tone. When you approach the conversation with calm confidence, it's not about creating tension, but about fostering clarity. Consider this example. He cancels plans last minute with a flimsy excuse. Instead of responding with frustration or silence, you say, "I understand things come up, but I value my time and prefer communication. Let's plan for when you're sure you can commit." Do you see the difference? You're not attacking him, but you're also not letting his behavior slide. You're standing firm in your expectations while leaving the door open for him to rise to the occasion. Another critical aspect of boundaries is follow-through. Words are powerful, but actions seal the deal. If you've communicated your expectations and he continues to disregard them, it's essential to show that you mean what you say. For instance, if he repeatedly disrespects your time, you may need to step back from engaging with him. This isn't about punishing him. It's about prioritizing your peace and demonstrating that your standards are non-negotiable. Some women worry that setting boundaries will push a man away. Here's the truth. Boundaries don't repel the right man. They attract him. A high-value man respects a woman who knows her worth and isn't afraid to uphold it. If he's truly interested, he'll take your boundaries as a cue to step up. And if he doesn't, well, you've just saved yourself from investing in someone who isn't aligned with your value system. Let's also address the deeper psychological layer here. When you set boundaries, you're not just sending a message to him, you're sending a message to yourself. You're affirming your self-worth and reinforcing the belief that you deserve mutual respect and effort. This is a cornerstone of dark Stoic psychology, where the focus is on mastering your own emotional responses and staying aligned with your values. Boundaries are also about creating balance. They prevent you from overgiving or becoming a doormat in a relationship. When you have clear limits, you create space for mutual effort and reciprocity. Think of it like a dance. You take a step, he takes a step, and together you create a rhythm that works for both of you. If he's not willing to match your energy, then it's clear he's not ready for the kind of relationship you're building. Lastly, remember that setting boundaries isn't a one-time event. It's an ongoing process. As the relationship evolves, so do your needs and expectations. Don't be afraid to revisit conversations and recalibrate when necessary. Boundaries aren't rigid walls. They're flexible guidelines that adapt to the context while staying true to your core values. In the end, setting boundaries is one of the most empowering acts of self-love. It's a declaration that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable and should be treated as such. When you master this skill, you not only navigate relationships with grace, but also reinforce your inner strength, an essential element of Stoicism and personal growth. Let me ask you this. How many times have you given someone a free pass? Maybe he canceled plans at the last minute, but he sounded so sorry. Or perhaps he disappeared for a week, but came back with a sweet text, and you thought, well, at least he reached out. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. But here's the hard truth. Excuses are not effort. And when you reward them, you're teaching him that you'll settle for less. A high-value woman knows the difference between words and actions. She understands that real effort is consistent, intentional, and visible, not just promises or apologies wrapped in charm. When you learn to reward effort instead of falling for excuses, you take back control of the narrative. First, let's address the psychology behind excuses. Many men who play hard to get rely on just enough effort to keep you hooked. They know how to dangle a carrot, just enough attention to make you think they're invested, but not enough to actually meet your standards. This is where you need to channel dark Stoic psychology. Instead of reacting to his words, focus solely on his actions. Does his behavior align with his promises? Is he putting in consistent effort? Or is he just showing up when it's convenient? Imagine this scenario. He tells you he wants to see you, but he's always vague about making plans. One week it's, let's hang out soon, and the next, it's radio silence. In moments like these, it's tempting to fill the gaps yourself. Maybe you suggest a day, a time, or try to pin him down. But here's the thing. If he's truly interested, he'll make the effort to lock in those plans himself. By stepping back and letting him take the lead, you give him the chance to prove his interest or reveal his lack of it. Now you might be wondering, what if I scare him off by not meeting him halfway? Let me flip that question around. Why would you want someone in your life who can't meet you halfway? A man who values you will make the effort, and when he does, that's what you reward. Rewarding effort isn't about playing hard to get. It's about reinforcing the behavior you want to see. When he follows through, show genuine appreciation. For example, if he takes the time to plan a thoughtful date, acknowledge it with a simple, "I really enjoyed that. Thank you for putting in the effort." It's not about overpraising him. It's about creating a positive feedback loop that encourages mutual effort. But let's also talk about what not to do. When he offers an excuse for not showing up, don't respond with frustration or endless explanations. Instead, calmly state your boundaries. "I appreciate your honesty, but I value consistency, and I need to know I can rely on you." This isn't about punishing him. It's about setting the tone for how you expect to be treated. Here's where the magic happens. When you stop rewarding excuses, you become a mirror. You reflect his behavior back to him, showing him what he needs to improve if he wants to be in your life. And this isn't just about him. It's about you reclaiming your time and energy. When you stop wasting it on empty promises, you have more to invest in the things and people that truly matter. I know this can feel challenging, especially if you've been conditioned to be accommodating or forgiving. But remember this: you're not being difficult or demanding. You're setting a standard. A high-value woman doesn't lower her expectations to keep someone around. She raises them and lets the right person rise to meet her. There's a peculiar kind of power in silence, isn't there? When someone expects a reaction, anger, frustration, desperation, and instead they're met with calm indifference, the dynamic shifts entirely. This is the essence of ignoring his games. It's not about pretending to be unbothered. It's about genuinely redirecting your energy to where it matters most: yourself. Men who play hard to get often thrive on the chase, the validation, the idea that they hold the upper hand. They send mixed signals, not because they're confused, but because they enjoy seeing you invest more effort than they're willing to. Every time you react, whether by texting first, seeking clarity, or showing frustration, you're feeding the dynamic they've created. But what happens when you stop playing along? When you withdraw your energy? Something remarkable occurs. Suddenly, the game they're playing collapses because you're no longer a participant. Your silence becomes a mirror, forcing them to face their own behavior. Here's the truth. Ignoring his games isn't about manipulation or revenge. It's about reclaiming your mental and emotional bandwidth. Every minute you spend analyzing his actions is a minute you could invest in yourself, in your goals, your passions, your peace. This isn't avoidance, it's empowerment. Imagine he sends you a cryptic message, something vague enough to pique your interest, but not substantial enough to merit a real response. Instead of replying immediately or dissecting his words with your friends, you pause. You set the phone down. Maybe you take a yoga class, dive into a project, or call a friend who always lifts your spirits. When you finally return to that message, you read it with fresh eyes, realizing it doesn't warrant the energy you once thought it did. That's the power of focusing on yourself. Ignoring his games also means choosing not to engage with behaviors that disrespect your time or emotional well-being. Maybe he's habitually late to plans or cancels at the last minute. Instead of calling him out every time, you shift your approach. You stop rearranging your schedule to accommodate his inconsistency. You move forward with your plans, whether or not he shows up. Your actions quietly but firmly communicate. I don't wait for people who don't value my time. This approach is deeply rooted in Stoicism, which teaches us to control what we can and let go of what we can't. You can't control his games, but you can control how you respond to them. By choosing not to react, you preserve your peace and maintain your dignity. Some may worry that ignoring his games will push him away. But here's the reality. If he's playing games, he's already half out the door emotionally. Your silence isn't pushing him away. It's giving him the space to decide whether he's ready to step up or step out. And if he chooses the latter, that's a blessing in disguise, because it frees you to invest in someone who matches your energy. Finally, ignoring his games allows you to focus on becoming the best version of yourself. This isn't about making him jealous or proving a point. It's about genuine self-improvement. When you channel your energy into personal growth, you become magnetic, not just to him, but to everyone around you. Confidence, independence, and a sense of purpose are irresistibly attractive. If this resonates, hit the like button and drop a 1 in the comments to show you're ready to live with boundaries that command respect. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss more empowering insights like these. The journey is just getting started, and trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next. Let's keep building the life and relationships you truly deserve, one strong move at a time. Have you ever noticed how people only seem to truly appreciate something once it's gone? A favorite coffee shop closes, and suddenly they wish they'd gone more often. A treasured friend moves away, and they realize how much their presence meant. The same principle applies in relationships. When you let him feel the weight of your absence, you create space for him to recognize your value. But here's the thing. It's not about manipulation or playing games. It's about understanding a fundamental truth. People prioritize what they fear losing. If he's been taking your time, energy, and attention for granted, it's time to step back and let him see what life looks like without them. Trust me, if you've been a source of light, warmth, and support in his life, your absence will be felt like a cold gust of wind. So how do you do this in a way that's both dignified and effective? Let's start with detachment. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop over-investing. Detachment is about prioritizing your peace over his behavior. It's the core of Stoicism, which teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our emotions, and release the rest. By stepping back, you're not punishing him, you're reclaiming your energy. Instead of responding immediately to his sporadic texts or trying to fix his inconsistent behavior, you redirect your focus. You're still polite, even warm, but you're not as readily available. Your responses become shorter, your time more precious. You're subtly communicating, "I'm here, but I'm not waiting." This shift in energy is powerful because it disrupts the dynamic he's come to expect. Let's say he cancels plans for the third time with a vague excuse. Instead of expressing disappointment or trying to reschedule, you simply say, "That's okay. Let's catch up another time," and then you don't reach out again. The ball is now firmly in his court, and he's left to decide. Does he value you enough to step up, or will he let the connection fade? Either way, you win, because you've shown him that you won't settle for half-hearted effort. When you stop being predictable, you become intriguing. He starts to wonder, why isn't she chasing? Is she losing interest? Is someone else catching her attention? This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about genuinely living your life in a way that doesn't revolve around his games. Pulling back can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're used to giving. But remember this, stepping back isn't selfish, it's necessary. It's a reminder to yourself that your energy is valuable and shouldn't be spent on someone who isn't meeting you halfway. Every story has a moment of reckoning, a point where the heroine must decide whether to stay and fight or leave and reclaim her freedom. In the story of navigating a man who's playing hard to get, that moment is now. This is where you step back, evaluate his behavior, and make a choice that honors your worth. Is he truly worth your time, energy, and emotional investment? Or is it time to walk away and make space for something better? This isn't an easy decision. Walking away can feel like admitting defeat, but in reality, it's the ultimate declaration of self-respect. It's not about giving up. It's about letting go of what no longer serves you. And sometimes, letting go is the most courageous thing you can do. Ask yourself, what has he shown you through his actions? Not his words, his charm, or his potential, but his actual consistent behavior. Has he put in the effort to meet you halfway? Has he respected your boundaries and prioritized your connection? Or has he left you feeling uncertain, undervalued, and unfulfilled? The answers to these questions will guide you. Now let's get brutally honest. If his behavior has been inconsistent or dismissive, why are you still holding on? Is it because you believe he'll change, or because you fear being alone? These are valid feelings, but they shouldn't dictate your decisions. Holding on to someone who isn't meeting your standards doesn't protect you from loneliness. It prolongs it. Deciding to walk away isn't just about him, it's about what you're saying to yourself. Every time you stay in a situation that doesn't align with your worth, you're reinforcing a narrative that you don't deserve more. But every time you choose to walk away from what isn't right, you're sending a powerful message to yourself and the world that you value yourself too much to settle. Walking away doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need to make a grand statement or demand closure. Sometimes the most powerful exits are quiet. You simply stop engaging, stop chasing, stop investing. You let your absence speak for itself, and you focus on building the life you deserve. This approach isn't cold, it's dignified. It's rooted in Stoicism, which teaches us to act with calm clarity and stay true to our values. Let's address the fear. What if you walk away and he doesn't chase you? What if he doesn't realize what he's lost? Here's the hard truth. If he doesn't chase you, he was never truly invested. And if he doesn't realize your worth, he was never capable of appreciating it. Your value isn't determined by someone else's recognition of it. It exists independently, unshaken by his actions or lack thereof. Walking away also creates space for something new, something better. When you release what isn't working, you make room for connections that align with your worth. This isn't just about romantic relationships. It's about every area of your life. By letting go of what drains you, you attract what energizes you. Think of it like clearing a garden. When you remove the weeds, you create space for flowers to bloom. In the end, deciding whether to stay or walk away is one of the most empowering choices you can make. It's a moment of truth that defines how you value yourself and what you're willing to accept. Trust that whatever choice you make, as long as it aligns with your worth, is the right one. And when you choose yourself, you can never go wrong. Ladies, this journey we've been on isn't just about handling the frustration of a guy who likes to play hard to get. It's about rediscovering the incredible power you already have. The power to make choices, set standards, demand respect, and build a life where you come first. Whether you've been chasing, compromising, or questioning your own worth, this is your moment to take a stand. These aren't just tactics, they're guiding principles, a roadmap to becoming the high-value woman you were always meant to be. Someone who commands respect, sparks admiration, and attracts relationships that uplift and empower. Remember, the essence of Stoicism and dark Stoic psychology is about mastering your own reactions and not allowing outside factors to dictate your happiness. Every time you choose to protect your peace, invest in your growth, and honor your dignity, you're living out these timeless principles. And in doing so, you're not just navigating relationships, you're rewriting them on your own terms. As we wrap up, let me leave you with this thought. Life is too short to settle for confusion, games, or half-hearted efforts. The right man will meet you exactly where you stand. Value your time, respect your boundaries, and appreciate what a privilege it is to be in your life. Until then, focus on becoming the best version of yourself and trust that everything else will fall into place. Now I want to hear from you. What was the most eye-opening takeaway from this video? What's one step you'll take today to reclaim your power? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We're all in this together, and your story might inspire someone else. If this video resonated with you, be sure to leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for listening. Thank you for investing in your growth. And keep in mind, changing your approach changes your relationships and your entire world. Stay confident, stay radiant, and trust that the best is yet to come.